Hey there, and welcome to DollMotion. In this video, we're going to make a new character for the Diva Series. Although originally meant for the Diva spin-off series, that follows a separate storyline with Sabrina, Daisy and Jolie. But I've decided to merge the spin-off series with the main series, which means all the Divas episodes will be available on the Diva Series YouTube channel. So subscribe if you haven't yet. But back to the new character. We're going to make Rain Varius, famous show host to their own late night talk show, The Rain Show. Rain, the reindeer, was mentioned 2 times in the series. In episode 1 and episode 24 by Jolie. I'm not sure if I already told you, but my agent called me this morning and there's a big chance I will be on The Rain Show.
Wait, The Rain Show? As in, you're going to meet Rain Varius?
And as you can see, I made a sketch this time. So, with this in mind, let's make Rain Varius. The name Rain was chosen by followers on Instagram. But if you also saw it in my previous repaint video, then you found the hint. And if you saw a small apple, then you found the hint for Maulus Fetus, which repaint is now available on Patreon and YouTube memberships. But for now, good luck finding the hint in this video. Like usually, we're going to use an Obitsu body. Not sponsored, but I will put a few links in the description box where you can buy one. For their head, we're going to use my last Heat Burns Monster High Boy head. A perfect head to use for a more feminine or gender-neutral character, like I did with Morpheo. After removing the flame hair, we can harvest the ears. And yeah, it's a new year, so that means a new bottle. Now we can remove the factory painted face with pure acetone and switch to the body. Looking at the skeleton of a reindeer, we can see the animal has ungulated legs. And seeing Rain is 28 years old means they will get the band legs. Using my Dremel, we make a cut on the lower legs. And gluing them back on an angle to make the band. To fill in the gap, we use epoxy sculpt. The next day, we can sand down the epoxy for a smooth transition. Let's do something fun for Rain's ears. We're going to use a pair of Monster High arms to make movable ears. A technique I've used before for Eland. And it's very fun to animate. Putting the arms in can be a bit tricky, but here we go. And now for their antlers. Looking at pictures of reindeers, I made these armatures out of wire. We pin them into the head. And now we're going to secure the ears and antlers by filling the head with hot glue. This will keep them in place. And we use the same hot glue to give the antlers some body. Well, not all of it. For the rest, we use air drying clay. Why blue, you may ask? Well, it's the only color I still have. But we're going to paint it, so it doesn't really matter. The head still has a big gap from Heat Burn's flame hair. To make this even, we use epoxy sculpt. We also use for the ears and to correct small areas on the antlers. The only thing we still need to make are the animal face features. This really makes a Divus character, in my opinion. The next day, we match the face with the body. The antlers will first get a black undercoat. They get a nice bony antler paint texture later. And now for the reindeer paint features. Looking at a reindeer, we begin with a brown nose. And with white, we form a nozzle. Something I wanted to do for ages is give a Divus character freckles. Yes, I know Penny and Felicia have freckles, but I mean full body freckles. Yeah, they will give you a very messy workspace, but the results are just too cute. A few small corrections, and now we can seal the body with 2 layers of matte varnish. Some body blushing and oh, I almost forgot, but I gave Rain 2 tattoos. One of the non-binary sign and one of a raindrop, which Rain shares with their best friend Becky, which you will meet very soon. A reroute will not be an option with the antlers, movable ears and the fact I closed the head with epoxy sculpt. So yarn wefts it is. We comb them out, make them flat and shiny with a hair straightener and glue them to a plastic bag to make wefts. We're going to glue them to the head after the repaint, but for now, a tail. We take a small piece of wire, bind it with tape and glue on yarn. A small trim and the tail can be secured to the body. Ah yes, let's give Rain a new face. First we start by sketching in the face with a brown watercolor pencil. I'm going for a more closed eye look to embrace Rain's cheeky show host personality. I really can't wait to see their interview with James Fox in episode 28. Great, we have our guidelines. And now we can paint in the eyes with acrylic paint. I paint the sclera, but also the eyelids white, to mimic a reindeer. Followed by 2 blue eyes. I recently bought new gold paint, and I'm dying to try it out. It's subtle, but very fancy. Ooh, let's also do their nails. And now that I'm shading the eyes with pen pastels, let's answer the question of the day. What's the most tedious part of making a doll for you? I would say rerouting or making the clothes. And it's not because I don't like it, but more because it takes a lot of time, which sometimes results in a delay when an outfit doesn't go as planned. So, do you have a question of the day? Please leave your question in the comment section, and maybe I will answer it in the next repaint video. Back to the face-up. A few finishing touches and we can seal the new face with Mr. Superclear. Before we give Rain the red locks, we first have to flock the ears. You can easily make homemade flock by cutting yarn in teeny tiny pieces. Great, now we can glue on the hair. To be honest, I'm not that good at making parts, so we're going to do that first, which gives me more control. It's a bit awkward gluing around the part, but it looks very promising. And wow, it's actually the best hair part I ever made. I'm so proud. But they still need some small corrections around the ears and antlers. Here we go. Now we can style the hair and give the antlers a few rings. Great, Rain only needs an outfit. Something I always wanted to make is a tail jacket. Only I don't own a pattern for one, so that means I have to make one from scratch. Well, lucky I do own one for a shirt and trousers. And yes, sneakers, because I like Doctor Who. After looking up many images of tail jackets, I managed to make my very own tail jacket in miniature. I gave it a few small details, and with this, Rain Varius is complete. If you'd like to know more about character Rain Varius, you can of course check out the Diva Series. But you can also check out the Divus wiki. Me and a few Divus fans are constantly updating the wiki with new Divus information. And of course, you are also welcome to add information to make the wiki even bigger. Oh, and by the way, the tail jacket pattern is now available on Patreon for download. I'm slowly trying to make a small archive with patterns for supporters of the channel, so they can make their own versions. And speaking of Patreon, if you'd like to see more repaint videos, I just added 2 new videos on Patreon and YouTube memberships. Maulus Phyllis, father to the cat siblings, and Vulpini Fox, who got a brand new face-up, just in time for her wedding. Both videos are available on Patreon and YouTube memberships, which you can find by following the link in the description box, or by clicking on the join button on this channel. There you can choose the perfect subscription that suits you, which you can always alter or cancel at any time. Thank you to all my supporters who make these videos possible, because the platform itself isn't really making it easy for me. So thank you my patrons of honor: Chelsea Panda Monkey, Managing Dreams, Cat Vanity, Kei Namaru, Ignorance is Blissful, Amaterasu Shiranri, and everyone else on Patreon, YouTube memberships DollMotion, and YouTube memberships Diva Series. Thank you for watching. And like always, like if you liked it and sub if you loved it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!